Now, let's see if we can answer some of the questions that Kenyans may have on this particular issue. Will the president attend that session at the International Criminal Court? In studio, I have Elisha Ongoya. He's a lecturer at Kabarak University, Department of Public Law. Thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime. Legally, Elisha, how binding is this for the president?
The president is at the ICC as an accused person. He's not just a suspect. The charges against him were confirmed by a legal process, which was binding upon Kenya. So the order delivered by this court is a judicial order that is binding Uhuru Kenyatta as an accused person before the International Criminal Court. Yes.
All right, so there is a lot of opinion, obviously, Elisha, from different leaders. He needs to attend this session. He does not need to attend this session. What will this say for the country? What are the consequences legally of him not attending the session?
It is the same consequences of a traffic offender charged with a minor offense of riding a bicycle without a lamp, opting not to attend a court session. Courts have a power called the power to issue warrants of arrest. Therefore, the court will issue a warrant of arrest against him unless there is good reason for him not to attend, in which case the court can defer the time set for him to attend, or unless there's an appeal and this order is set aside. That's how courts the world over operate in an orderly, civilized manner. But if he just whimsically declines not going to attend, being a subject of the court process, the court will issue a warrant for his arrest, then automatically he now metamorphoses into a fugitive, just the same way as El-Bashir is at the moment. Assuming
you're in his defense team and you're advising him, what would you tell him? Attend, do not attend? And why?
As a legal practitioner, I have an ethical duty to advise a client to honor the court process. Remember, it was his application to be excused from attending. When you make an application to a forum, you can't at the same time compel the forum to act on your terms. You must kowtow before the forum and allow the forum to exercise its authority as conferred by law. You can't go to court and tell the court you must act this way. You make your plea before the court. Sometimes the court agrees with you. Sometimes the court disagrees with you. And even when the court disagrees with you, as a legal practitioner, I am bound to advise my client to commit to honor the court orders, unless, of course, we have a chance of appeal, in which case we can appeal or apply for review or take another recourse known to law. Failure or whimsically failing to honor the court order is not one of the options that are known and respectable by law.
I know it's not one of the options that are known and respected by law, but looking at the circumstances surrounding this entire case on Uhuru Kenyatta, and of course the chief prosecutor said she does not have enough evidence to prosecute this case, what would you tell him? In
fact, the more reason why, if I were in Uhuru's defense team, I would advise him to honor. Looking at the way in which there is literal concession that that case has collapsed, it will not be a good legal strategy to then give the prosecution an opportunity to have a collateral attack at him on a side issue of whether or not he has disobeyed the court. I will confront the prosecution, look at it in the face, and let it bring my accuser so that I can face them. In light of these circumstances, I think the ideal thing, the logical thing, the prudent thing to do is to swallow pride, honor the order, and look at the prosecutor in the eyes and say, the time is now. I would prefer that I have an encounter with my accusers.
Okay, let's look at precedents, let's look at pride, let's look at image of the country. There's never been a sitting head of state at the International Criminal Court. Where does this leave Uhuru Kenyatta?
Unfortunately, if the only way we did things is the way that it has been done before, then we will never make progress. There's a way in which things will happen differently from the way they were happening before. And therefore, the argument that there has never been a sitting head of state before the ICC doesn't count for much. There was definitely, in the history of mankind, going to be the first sitting president to appear for the ICC. It would appear that this may be our very own, all other factors remaining constant. But let's again not forget that by the time Kenyans elected Uhuru Kenyatta as president, he had this small personal issue called the ICC, and uses his own words. And he had committed himself for the ICC, and if I remember the big debate, he committed himself that he will continue cooperating with the process.
A personal issue.
Yes, this is the time when the rubber meets the road. So I know for a fact that, speaking as a Kenyan, it is not very good for the image of the country, as it were. But I think those are the logical consequences that you face when a country, you find yourself in the state.
Elisha, finally, before I let you go, what options, therefore, are left for his legal team?
There are a number of options available. Number one, to advise him, simply come, in which case he has to attend. Number two is to present a request for the deferral of the debt so that the court vacates this debt and gives him a convenient debt. Number three is simply appeal against this order, because there's an appellate chamber. Appeal against this order, seek as a matter of urgency, an order suspending this decision until the appeal is heard and determined. These are options available in law, which the legal team, furnished with the circumstances and the facts of his case, could wriggle through and see which will be the ideal option available for their client.
Okay, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot and look at some of the utterances that we've had from political leaders. And you've had some Jubilee political leaders very adamant, saying the president should not make his way to the International Criminal Court. Do you think this affected the decision, that this contributed to the decision that we are seeing today?
Some of our leaders, when they speak, for example, when I see Professor Kithure Kindika, Professor of Law, uttering at a political rally that we are asking the ICC to terminate the cases here and now. As a lawyer, he knows that that is not the forum for those kind of submissions. It is true a submission for termination could be an available option, but there's a forum where that kind of submission is made, not to none of the political rallies in the four corners of the boundary of the Republic of Kenya. Again, one thing Kenyans must remember is that part of the ICC problem facing our leaders today has been a consequence of these reckless arguments, reckless discussions by our leaders against these courts. You remember right from the time when the chorus was, let's not be vague, let's go to the Hague. These are some of the people who delivered our leaders to the position they find themselves in. Unfortunately, the only thing we learn from history, Linda, is that we learn nothing from history. And that's where we find ourselves today. So they have learned very little, and they continue with their chorus. The ICC is made of human beings who, if you push them, then they may want to show you where the real power lies. And remember, the ICC is not answerable to the political leaders of Kenya. It's an institution with its own framework of operations that is independent of the political machinations operations in Kenya as a territory.
Okay. Elisha Ongoya, Lecturer, Department of Public Law, Kabarak University, thank you so much for your insight and for helping us to understand where exactly this leaves President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Good evening.